let's talk about creativity. Creativity, and I talked about this in an earlier lesson. Creativity is different than imagination. Imagination is something not wholly perceived by the five senses. Creativity is something completely fictional that you make up with your mind, but is often in connection to spirit and things that you're experiencing too. One of the reasons creativity is important is to teach you the difficulty of creating something with your mind, creating something out of nothing, creating something that did not exist before or did not appear before. And the idea is to teach you that so that when you do experience something, you understand the ease of the experience and how easy it is to experience, how the details don't have to be filled in, how you can simply remember everything. You can just see all the details. It's not like your mind is filling it in. Creativity is a good way for clearing trauma and blockages in your chakras, clearing trauma from your body, your emotions, from all of your bodies, your spiritual, mental, physical, and emotional self. Being creative helps move energy, helps energy flow through you. It's one of the things I learned when I was on my journey and I started writing my guides. I didn't expect to be doing this work I'm doing now. My guides had me writing fantasy books. They guided me towards fantasy writing. And I was able to clear a lot of trauma creating my characters, working on my stories. But I also realized the difficulty of writing a story. How in my process, I would spend 6 months thinking about a story before I even put words on paper, figuring out all the details, running the scenes through my mind multiple times, seeing it over and over and over and over again, fleshing everything out, trying to figure out how to create it. It's completely different than having an experience, completely different than imagining something not wholly perceived by the five senses. Something that you experience is in full detail. It's easy. It doesn't take 6 months to develop it. Creativity clears your emotional traumas, gives you an outlet for energy, gives you a healthy outlet for energy, and allows you to push that energy into something outside of yourself so that you can heal, so that you can move energy, so that you can even then connect after you clear, connect and create with spirit, with consciousness. It'll help you put you into touch with other beings. There are a lot of artists out there who don't realize they're intuitive. When I would go to conventions and see all these vendors, all of my friends, my vendor friends, doing artwork, creative artwork, see what they were drawing, see what they were sculpting. And they were sculpting and drawing things I had seen before. Beings that were real, creatures they thought were fictions, but were ever so real. They didn't know that. You could tell they didn't know that. They didn't feel awake. They thought it was all imagination. They thought it was all, I just see a picture in my mind and I create it. That's telepathy, that's channeling, that's clairvoyance, that's seeing things. So a lot of you might already have those skills and just not know that you can talk to these beings you see in your mind. You can talk to these creatures. You can work with them. They're working through you already through creativity. And then a lot of people will say, well, I'm not creative. It's an excuse a lot of people use. I'm not creative. It's not true. Everybody's creative. Every single person is creative, even if you have a logical mind. I have a computer science and math background. My mind is extremely logical. I used to love logic puzzles. Doing the logical puzzles that you buy and, for 100 for $1 or used to, like a crossword puzzle type magazine, but they were logic puzzles. My mind is very logical. Used to be anyway. And it's one of those things that everybody has creativity. It can apply to anything. You can be an artist, a painter, a sculptor. You can be a computer programmer, a mathematician. There's creativity in those. There's creativity in being an auto mechanic, in building cars, building unique cars, customizing them. There's creativity in being a baker or a cook. There's creativity in all those types of things. The idea is to figure out what you desire to create, what calls to you, what would you like to create. It's true, some people, when they think of creativity, all they think about is drawing, painting, sculpting. They think of traditional means of creativity. But is creativity traditional to you? Does that mean that is your creativity? A lot of people aren't going to be able to draw, aren't going to be able to paint or sculpt, because they're not going to take the time to learn the steps to practice. I've been drawing since I was a kid. Painting for less time. I just started painting again. I painted my first picture in 20 years. Came out really bad, but I tried. And I know the techniques still from high school that I can continue forward and rebuild my painting skills. But for somebody else, they might prefer candle making, knitting, crocheting. They might prefer cooking, soap making, or creating something else. Sculpting, dioramas, all kinds of different things you can do. Gardening is creative. So it's about finding what calls to you that you can do something creative with, that you can design around, that you can use your imagination, your fictional imagination, to build something outside of yourself, to reduce stress, to eliminate trauma, to process things. Personally, I find writing to be the most useful outlet for transmuting energy and trauma, because you're writing from your experience and putting those experiences on paper. But you can do other things. You can sculpt, you can, like I said, you can cook, candle make, all kinds of different things. And here's the beautiful part. For those of you stumbling around in the dark when it comes to creativity, saying, I don't know how to create, and you're repeating that phrase, and you're programming yourself essentially to believe that. Remember that there are other ways to create. There are other ways to create. You can do those. You can find those through kits. You can go on Amazon and other places and you can buy kits. You can buy kits to explore things. Kits on candle making, knitting, wood carving, drawing, painting, sculpting, cooking, all kinds of things. Soap making. Buy kits. Take $100, buy a bunch of different kits and see what calls to you. See what calls to you for your creativity, so that you can experience creativity. But creativity is extremely important in our process for clearing trauma, clearing blockages, transmuting energy, and understanding the difference between something difficult like creativity and something easy like an experience. So I urge you, after this session, after this lesson, sit down if you're not already doing creative things and try to figure out what is it you would like to do creatively that you would enjoy, that would help you. Think about that. What is it that you would like to do that you would enjoy? What would you like to create? And the key is that if you do this, you might even free yourself enough where your creativity spawns a business, spawns a side hustle, and helps you in other ways. Creativity is a beautiful thing, and I urge each and every one of you to take some time and find your creativity. Thank you for watching. You all have my deepest gratitude. I'll have some notes about creativity below this video, and feel free to ask questions anytime.